It's the SMT Media Network when we're back with another NBA video. This one to cover the Cavs' loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. Of course, you always give credit to the team that wins, but these situations can be a little bit different when you're talking about the team with one of the best records in the league. Between them and I think the Thunder, the Cavs have proven that they're one of the most consistent and capable teams. Again, I think it's them and I think it's the Thunder. But they've kind of hit a lull in the season. I honestly believe after watching some of their most recent losses, they're kind of in one of those ruts that happen during the long, grueling parts of the year when things get pretty boring, mundane, those sorts of things. And teams with championship aspirations can't really do this. You really got to stay sharp. You got to stay focused. Injuries can take their toll on teams too. I think some of those things are starting to creep up for the Cavs. Anyways, let's talk about this particular loss to the Sixers. All right, the way this game went was a final score, 132-29. Philadelphia gets the close win. As it played out, the first quarter, the Sixers were on fire, scoring 39 points. Now, if you're the Cavs, able to score 33, it's not bad, right? It's not the end of the world. But your defense has to be better than that. So one of the things I want to discuss and mention here is during these most recent Cavs losses, their defense has not been good. I would say that the defense against the Rockets and the defense against the Sixers just wasn't there. The effort wasn't there, the execution wasn't there, and I think that's where the injuries kind of come into play. Some of the guys that are out of the lineup are your most important defenders, both in the post and on the wing. So the Cavs ended up coming back in the second quarter, doing a nice job, holding the Sixers to 25 points, getting 34 points themselves. So what we're seeing here in a story of this game, the Cavs didn't have a problem scoring. They had a problem stopping the other team from scoring, which, by the way, Philadelphia doesn't even have their star center in Joel Embiid, who's unavailable due to injuries, specifically the knee swelling problem. So in the second half, the Cavs were outscored, and that was their opportunity to kind of close the gap, out-execute the Sixers at the end of the game, and they just couldn't do it. From a team statistical standpoint, the shooting was fine. Both teams shot over 50%. Three-point percentage, that's kind of where some of this is kind of a problem. The Cavs took 52 threes. They made 48% of them. But when you're giving up so many points and buckets on the other end, you're going to have to try to outscore your opponent. That's not ideal. It's like the Sixers shot 54% from three, and they got to the line 27 times and shot 85%. So the Sixers were on fire. They were making everything, and you couldn't offer enough resistance to keep those shots from going down. Total rebounds, the differential went to the Sixers. Offensive rebounds +6 to the Sixers. And then when it comes to the turnovers, I mean, it was pretty close. I think both teams kind of turned over the ball a little bit. Cavs turned it over 16 times. The Sixers turned it over 18 times. And the Sixers were +6 in points in the paint, so they did a better job of getting some easier buckets. And then when I look at the individual efforts, and this is where I think things kind of can show, because, you know, in a night where there weren't a lot of NBA games, you could kind of see some of the actual, players that made a difference in this game. Listen to some of these stats, right? 2 points from Dean Wade in 20 minutes of action. 8 points from Jarrett Allen in 34 minutes of action. He was the leading minutes logger yesterday. Darius Garland got you 26. He's been very, very good in supporting the team offensively this year on games where other players haven't come up, right? So he's supported. Donovan Mitchell, he was, I think, the game high scorer, 37 points, 12 of 23 shooting, 7 of 15 from three. So in my opinion, I think your guards did pretty good. Your backcourt did very good. Between the two of them, you got 63 points. Max Strus got you 6. But the supporting cast outside of Garland and Donovan Mitchell didn't really get you much in terms of your starters. And the bench, there was one lone player that got you something off the bench, and that was Ty Jerome, and he was huge. 11 of 14 on field goals, 8 of 8 from three. Can't expect that every night from anyone in the league, let alone Ty Jerome. He played great. So I'd call this the Ty Jerome game. He kept the Cavs in it. The Cavs just didn't do enough. Niang, 18 minutes off the bench, got you 5 points. Kind of quiet. Jalen Tyson got you some run, got you some minutes. Tristan Thompson played 10 minutes. That's how you know you're in trouble, right? When you got guys like that having to log 10, 15 minutes a game. Sam Merrill, 19 minutes, got you 9 points. Not bad, right? But you're missing Evan Mobley. That's a huge absence. You're missing Okoro. He's out. You're missing Karis LeVert. These are guys that can, get you a couple of shots. These are guys that lock things down on the perimeter. The Cavs miss them, and they need them, clearly. They're losing games recently because of those absences. And then just look at the 76ers, who, shout out to them, played a great game. Paul George, 30. Tyrese Maxey, 29. Kelly Oubre, the great Kelly Oubre, got you 22 points. You know what I mean? Eric Gordon got you 15 points. Yabusele got you 12. I mean, the starters, and they logged a ton of minutes, 36, 40, 38, 39 minutes. The Cavs do things very differently. They like their rotations. Kenny Atkinson. And then off the bench, you got 15 from Justin Edwards, right? But that was it. Andre Drummond didn't play because of an injury. Reggie Jackson didn't get on the floor. It was basically the starters carrying, and the Cavs couldn't stop a nosebleed. All right, so where am I at with this? How do I close out this video? To kind of wrap up on the Cavs, clearly the injuries have really hurt and bothered the rotation. It's really impacted their ability to defend, and that's why they're losing some of these games. This game specifically to the Sixers were hot, and the Cavs just couldn't stop anything that the Sixers were doing on the perimeter. The Sixers took 39 threes and made 54% of them. The Cavs took 52 and made 48% of them. You have to outscore your opponent in situations like that. You're better off trying to stop your opponent. But they just didn't have their horses, and it showed. This is a game that Cleveland could have won, but didn't because their defense was poor. And I think also when you look back at the Rockets game, we didn't cover a video on it. Darius Garland missed those 3 free throws at the end of the game. That was the opportunity for the Cavs to win it. He missed 2 of those free throws. I mean, it was called a flagrant foul. So they had 3 free throws and the ball back, and they just couldn't capitalize. 2 games you could have had. So bad outcome on this road trip for the Cavs. Their next game, they'll be looking to bounce back. I think they play in a couple of nights here. Oh no, they're bouncing back against the Rockets, but they're hosting them. So it's a busy week for the Cavs. So they played the Suns on Monday, they played the Rockets on Wednesday, and then they played here on Friday, and then on Saturday they've got a game. They're hosting the Rockets, so they'll look for a get back here. Definitely a game they can win. We'll see who's back in the lineup. It's quite possible some of the guys were held out for this game. We'll see how the Cavs bounce back. Look for a better defensive effort. I think that's the adjustment for the Cavs. Not much else to see here. Cavs are still a very good team. Got to get healthy. Got to play better defense. And I think that's how they get back on the winning track. Shout out to Philadelphia. Good game for them, finding a win, given all that's going on there in Philly.